King Charles has spent the night at home in London after starting cancer treatment. This is the scene live at Buckingham Palace, where it is 8 o'clock in the morning. World leaders have sent messages of support to the monarch after his diagnosis was made public on Monday. In the last hour, the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said that he is thankful the illness was caught early and hopes the monarch makes a speedy recovery. The palace has said it is not prostate cancer, but it was discovered during the King's recent treatment for an enlarged prostate. Officials say King Charles will continue with his state duties, but step back from public engagements whilst receiving outpatient treatment. The heir to the throne, William, the Prince of Wales, is to carry out some of those duties on behalf of his father. Our first report is from our royal correspondent, Daniela Ralph.
This was the last time we saw the King in public. On Sunday, going to church with Queen Camilla on the Sandringham estate in Norfolk. Just 17 months into his reign, he now faces a serious health challenge. Just over a week ago, the King left this private hospital in central London, where he'd spent 3 nights being treated for an enlarged prostate. We now know, during his stay here, cancer was discovered. In a statement, Buckingham Palace said, during the King's recent hospital procedure for benign prostate enlargement, a separate issue of concern was noted. Subsequent diagnostic tests have identified a form of cancer. He remains wholly positive about his treatment and looks forward to returning to full public duty as soon as possible. Although open about his diagnosis, the type of cancer the King has will be kept private, as will the nature of his treatment. All of his public engagements have been cancelled. His son, the Duke of Sussex, is expected to visit him this week, travelling to the UK from his home in California to see his father, who contacted Prince Harry personally with news of the diagnosis. It is the first time Harry has seen the King since the coronation.
In times of crisis, families do come together, and I think everyone will be happy to see that. I think there is a sort of sense of business as usual going on. That's very much a message that sort of the palace is trying to put out. But if along the way we can see some bridges being built, then that's got to be a good thing.
But it will now be down to other working members of the royal family to pick up some of the King's work. His wife, Queen Camilla, has done a number of her own engagements in recent weeks, but may now find herself doing some of her husband's duties too. It will be the same for the King's son, the Prince of Wales, who himself has been away from royal engagements for almost a month, following his wife's stay in hospital after surgery. He is due to return to public duty tomorrow in Windsor and London. This is going to be a testing time for the King and the wider royal family, as they balance personal, private challenges with the need to continue with public duties. Daniela Ralph, BBC News.
Well, in the last hour, the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has been speaking to our colleagues on BBC Radio 5 Live. He was asked about his reaction to the news about the King's health.
Well, obviously, like everyone else, shocked and sad, and just all our thoughts are with him and his family. And, thankfully, this has been caught early, and now everyone will be wishing him that he gets the treatment that he needs and makes a full recovery. I think that's what we're all hoping and praying for, and I'm of course in regular contact with him, and we'll continue to communicate with him as normal.
Practically speaking, what does it mean for the day-to-day running of the country?
No, I think I'm in regular contact with the King, and that will of course continue as normal, and we'll crack on with everything. But he'll be in our thoughts and our prayers. Many families around the country who are listening to this will have been touched by the same thing, and they know what it means for everyone. So also we'll just be willing him on, and hopefully we can get through this as quickly as possible.
That's British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak talking to BBC Radio 5 Live. Well, our royal correspondent Charlotte Gallagher is outside Buckingham Palace for us and has the latest.
Actually, unusually, the palace have been very open with the King's recent health problems when he was being treated for an enlarged prostate and now with his cancer diagnosis. But we're not going to get a day-to-day update of his health. Of course, like everybody, he has a right to privacy. So although we know the King has cancer, we don't know what type of cancer it is. We do know it's not prostate, though. We also don't know what kind of treatment he's undergoing. However, we do know he's going to be an outpatient, so he'll be going to and from the hospital on a daily basis. Now, what that means is, of course, he can still fulfil his constitutional role as head of state. So he won't be doing those public events, meeting people, opening buildings, but he will be carrying out roles like reviewing paperwork, signing parliamentary bills, having meetings, private meetings, including with the Prime Minister. Now, if he wasn't able to do that, there is a constitutional mechanism that can come into play, and that's when councillors of state can step up and act for the monarch. Now, currently, they are the Queen, Prince William, Princess Anne, Prince Edward, not Prince Harry and Prince Andrew, because they are no longer working royals. However, in this case, Buckingham Palace have said the King can still carry out those official constitutional duties, so they are not needed. Prince William, who'd taken some time off from the public eye after his wife's surgery and her recuperation, he is returning to public duties this week, perhaps maybe a bit sooner than expected, and we probably can see him out and about tomorrow. It's expected that Prince William and Queen Camilla will be taking on more of the public duties while the King is being treated for cancer.
And we also have the news that his son, Prince Harry, is going to be flying over from the US to the UK.
And perhaps not unexpected, Nikki. Lots of people watching this will know someone who's been diagnosed with cancer or perhaps been diagnosed with cancer themselves. And you know that when that happens, you want your family, you want your friends around you. We know that Prince Harry was told by the King himself. The King rang both his sons to tell them of his diagnosis. So it's really not surprising that Prince Harry, despite the troubles, we know there has been tension in the relationships within the royal family. It's no surprise that Prince Harry wants to be with his father while he's undergoing this treatment for cancer. And many people are hoping that perhaps this will bring the family back together.
Absolutely. And I assume that the officials in Buckingham Palace will now have to be looking ahead, because there were due to be a number of royal visits overseas this year, weren't there?
Yes, and they have incredibly busy calendars, working members of the royal family. They're often out and about within the UK and across the world on foreign trips, including to the Commonwealth. So we don't know what's going to happen with them at this point in time. It could be that the King will be well enough to take those trips. It could be that other members of the royal family step up and do those trips themselves, or they could be cancelled. We just don't know. And that's the kind of thing that will be released in the days and weeks coming ahead, rather than, as you said, day-to-day information about the King's health.
Charlotte Gallagher reporting. Well, earlier I spoke to Dr. Hilary Williams, a consultant oncologist at the Royal College of Physicians. She told me the impact the King's diagnosis could have on cancer awareness.
I think it's already having an impact. I understand even the prostate symptoms you talked about have increased the number of men going forward with prostate symptoms. So we know anyone that can, access cancer screening, and there's lots of type available: lung, bowel, cervix, breast. Please go ahead and get your screening. So I hope that's an important message here.
Yeah, how common is it for cancers to be discovered whilst having other treatment and tests being carried out?
I mean, it's really quite common. I mean, we sit in our MDT every week. People get lots and lots of CT scans these days. And so, yeah, it's quite common that you're looking at one thing and then our clever radiologists pick up something else. And generally that means it's an early and treatable cancer, we hope. So really quite common, I would say. Yeah,
we don't, of course, know what type of cancer the King has, but it is worth remembering that every cancer treatment is very personal to the individual and different people react differently to treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's probably 100 different types of cancer, including blood cancers. And actually, even in my lifetime as a doctor, even in the last 5 years, it's been an explosion of new drugs, better radiotherapy, better surgery. So I think, his treatment plan, I'm sure, will be absolutely individualised to him.